Hello everybody and welcome back to another Spirit Hunters Infinite Horde video. Today we will be looking at the overpowered Cleave ability. Yes, it's Cleave, it's overpowered, it's gonna be great. And what's the best way to run Cleave? I mean, realistically on anybody. Cleave is, just to show it off, amazing on Magnus, so much health gain. Amazing on Vivian because it can just kill everything. You can have this killing everything. Is quite good on Conrad. Not the biggest fan out of the others. The knockback really doesn't matter when it's just killing everything, but the knockback, until it is powered up and things, can definitely take you very far. But the one that we really care about is on Maxine. This cooldown reduction by 20%. So we are heading off to the Dark Forest in Darkmoon Grove, and we're going to check out how well Cleave can do. And now, we already know Cleave can do very well. I mean, that's a given, right? Cleave is going to do amazing. Let's even just hit the shop up. We'll even take extra experience right off the bat. Done. We should have plenty of levels, without a doubt. So yes, Cleave is going to do very, very well, obviously. But what can we do to assist in proving that? Step one, we are not going to take an official boss killer. I am not going to take Bone, I am not going to take Arrow, and I am not going to take the Shadow Shurikens. Those are off the table. We are not going to take any of those. We are sticking solely with the Cleave, and that is it in terms of our primary potential. We are taking a few assistant things, you know. We have Orbital Fire, just in case something sneaks in behind us. We have the Vines, just, you know, because Vines are fun, and they really don't do that much. And we have the my favorite ability, the Hex. Yes, I know it's essentially a meme, but I love the Grand Hex. It really, it does so much, but it also does nothing at all. It's such a weird dichotomy. I will say I had ever since I ran it and it was maxed out. When I was first maxed it out, that is when I said, you know what, that is the fun ability for me. So ideally speaking, Grand Hex will actually be our second ability that we will be leveling up, as again, the primary focus is to level up 2 abilities in the current state of the game. So we're going to have our Cleave, which is going to be doing primarily our AoE damage. We are going to have Grand Hex hopefully hitting things, fingers crossed. I don't know how high we are going to get level-wise, but we're not going to turn Grand Hex levels away. I want to kill some of these red guys because, you know, they're quite the nuisance at times. So just getting rid of them. You can let them go off screen, but where's the fun in that? We're already down to 0.8 seconds, which is fantastic. We've gotten quite a few upgrades. I feel very confident in taking damage as well, which is a beautiful thing thanks to Cleave. It is just refreshing to not feel any fear. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get low very frequently, especially in my videos, because health is a resource. Just go for it. You know, the more you play, the more you'll get used to it, and the game is in a position where it's going to be getting easier with the upcoming patches. So that is good news, you know. I honestly like the challenge. I am looking forward to hardcore mode. I think that is going to be a lot of fun. I will be attempting a Maxine challenge. I don't know how well it's going to go. I don't even know how the start's going to go. But again, the game should get easier. And honestly speaking, with the change to the final results, the final cage, where the cage does not shrink and it's just can you survive the boss, I think that's amazing. Without the cage shrinking, I think even unupgraded things as they currently are capable of beating bosses. So I think that's a huge boon. So I'm looking forward to that. And at the same time, they are rebalancing things. So I think other weapons will be more powerful. They really only spoke about increasing the power of things. I can't help but think that they will not be lessening the power of Cleave. But at the same time, you know, if everything is raised to the power of Cleave, that would be amazing. I would be thrilled. That's going to be so great. Flash is fantastic. I love it. But since we are going to be reliant on the power of the Cleave primarily, let's just increase its damage by 1. And while I say buy one, I really don't mean buy one in this case. Cleave itself, once you fully max it out, essentially gets a crit rate around 80%. So that buy one is more like, 2.6, something like that, 2.7. It is quite nice. Actually, it's 2.4, but whatever. I will take 2.4 damage for a pet on every swing, in essence. I mean, realistically, again, that's either +3 or not, or +2 or not. But still, it's +3 or +1. Oh my gosh, we've already gotten pretty much as many upgrades as we need to this speed. We've turned on the wood chipper. I mean, it's just the countdown now, so, I mean, I understand. I would like you to stick around for the video, but we're basically just going to be demolishing everything with our cleave at this speed. I generally was expecting to get to this speed at around 7 minutes or so. Being here at 4 is just a beautiful thing, really. But as you can see also, our upgrades are not what they, should be. They're not 1.5 seconds per upgrade. They are 20% less. It is, very reasonable. The 20% less, they are 1.2 seconds. And we have one more upgrade left, or 0.12 seconds, I should say. Let's keep going with our crit, because again, Cleave is the primary weapon. I did put a couple of points into the Grand Hex so far, and we will be getting more, but let us definitely get this this Cleave action going on. And as you can see, these enemies coming in now, they are fast, and they actually have a good amount of health. So this is, quote unquote, one of the more dangerous things. And here we go, the final one for the wood chipper, down to 0.24 seconds. That is immense right there. Going from 3 1/3 to over 4 hits a second. I mean, look at this thing. This thing, even with low damage, nothing can stand behind it. We don't need 3 times the knockback, because even if an enemy survives, like these ghosts here, it has enough knockback by itself to just push them away anyway. The only time it doesn't is when they get exploded into us. So that was poor timing on the explosion, but, nothing ever works out the way that you want it. We are flying through, though. Got a Moon Mummy, stuck on him. Easy. Moon Mummy destroyed. Oh, the arch nemesis of many, many runs. I cannot tell you how many times that Moon Mummy has snuck up on me without me just realizing it, because I'm just, not even considering him a threat. Always consider the Moon Mummy. And one thing to note for this map, you have seen them. Those mushrooms, they suck. Not specifically for the reason that they can hit you and explode, but more so, when they explode, they kill the enemies. And when they kill the enemies, they don't drop experience. It is, understandable. I'm not going to fully complain about that. It is what it is. It's just, it does feel really, really bad when that happens. And not only that, it feels worse when it kills a boss or mini boss, whichever you want, whatever you want to call it. Killing a mini boss with that, it destroys the chests. I mean, it just gets rid of everything that you want. So I'm glad we are currently out of that phase. We're going to start working on some damage versus some area. Honestly, we have more area than I even want right now. I believe, personally, there is such a thing as too much area on this weapon. Unless you have multiple instances of the mag slime, you can very easily... I mean, see how far away we're killing things. I mean, we are just not able to actually collect it all. That being said, we will max out the area. That will be happening. Just not quite yet. I'd rather get some damage behind it. We're already hitting for 84, which is fantastic, so our damage is almost there. And, yeah, I mean, we're going to start seeing... Oh, it was 81. I apologize. We are going to start seeing... we'll get to 93, I believe, with the Slyther pet. So we're almost there. We are 2 upgrades away from damage, which is great. And yeah, I mean, basically doing 93 damage 80% of the time once we're maxed out, every 4 times a second. I mean, it's not the highest DPS, don't get me wrong, but I think it's going to be high enough to handle the boss. That you know, I haven't actually done a boss in a very long time without a boss killer, so I am quite intrigued to see how it does, but I think we will get through. Fingers crossed, at least. And if this was post-patch and the final cage does not degrade, so to speak, then it would be a very, very easy thing to do entirely. I mean, it's the cage that would kill. That really is the killer, because, you know, you can stay alive for quite a long time. And the problem, ultimately, is do we have the DPS? And I want more damage, but we're actually going to get this Mag Slime. You can see how short range our collection is. So let's get it. That will allow us to, you know, adjust to the greater size even more. So I'm pretty pleased with that too. The DPS, fantastic. Oh, now I get this this lovely skeleton. I think I needed him for one of the upgrades, and it took me over 50 runs to get him to show up for the first time, and then he showed up 2 more times in the next 2 runs. It was ridiculous. Yeah, I think it was about 50 runs. It was quite a lot. I just did it while not even really looking at things. Hoodoo, I love it. It would help our vines, but we don't care. We don't care, vines. Conrad, always a nice thing, but let's get the size. And you know what? We'll get you Conrad. Why not? That will finish off the pets. And finishing off the pets is always a good thing, because the next time you visit a shop, then you won't have to worry about it. Plus, if you get an upgrade, you know you're in 3 out of 5. That 3 out of 5 is actually very powerful, because if you have a pet that you want, such as the Mag Slimes, such as Slythers, such as Big Tex, you know, or if you're playing the dot build, Hoodoo. You know, if you're playing the dot build and you're at 4 pets, it's much better to buy a pet, even if you don't want it. It's better to buy that pet, fill up the slot before you hit a pet cage, because you really want to upgrade that Hoodoo pet. So, I mean, our Cleave destroying everything in its wake. We have bosses, we had bosses, you know, we're doing 87 damage, 1 more damage upgrade and we'll be maxed, which is fantastic, getting to our 93. So, it's you know, it's overpowered. Attack size needs 1 more after this, and then we just need 5 more crit, which is going to be 25% more critical strike chance on top of our already just about 50%, I believe. I think we were just over 50%, like 53? Unless that was the next upgrade that I did not take. So, I apologize if I'm getting a little wrong, as usual, but I'm fairly close to what it should be. Damage, maxing it out. Ready to go straight on into the Grand Hex next. And again, the Grand Hex is purely for fun. If it hits the boss, great. If it doesn't, that's expected. So, especially when you're playing with Cleave, all you're really doing is, how can I make this as fun as possible? And yes, just destroying everything, getting a boss killer, getting bone, getting shurikens. I would stick away from arrow, but, you know, arrow too is fun. I don't like to have multiple clearing weapons, personally. I kind of like to let each weapon kind of shine on its own, but there's no reason not to, realistically. And here we go, we do have the next shop with no pets in hand. Let us see what we do indeed get. And there we go, look at that, all the resources with hearts. I'm not going to really buy any of the purple crystals. I will save that for rerolls, because, you know, I do want to focus on the Grand Hex. And yeah, I mean, the wood, it just cleaves through enemies, to use its name as it is. I mean, it really is its namesake. It's ridiculous. I mean, this map, I think, is one of the harder maps, one of the easier bosses, but one of the harder maps, just due to the enemy set itself, some of the enemies are very fast, some of them are very tanky, a lot of them can fly through things and just come at you where you don't see them coming, and Cleave cares for none of it. There is no concern. They could throw literally every enemy that is going to spawn from now until the end of the game at us right now, and they would all be dead within a few seconds. Let's grab our mag slime. Some more experience would always be nice, but you know what? Let's just be able to pick up the stuff that we want to pick up and leave it at that. You know, you can get 10% more experience, or you can guarantee that you pick up 10% more experience and then some. So I think the mag slime in this regard just helps the play, makes it smoother, helps you search for things even more than you were before. Our attack size is now maxing out. We have 20% more crit to go, and yeah, we have 3 minutes left to do it. I'm feeling pretty okay. We have some rerolls. We will get there. I want to get this chest. I did hear the boss. It's coming. So let us see how that goes. Boss, most assuredly, is behind us to a degree, possibly below us, since we did go up and to the right. Looks like there he is. Nope, that was just one of the skulls. Let's find this boss. The worst part about this map is the boss hunt. So, our crit, we get 10% more. We're going to be sitting at 78% in the end. There is the boss, getting held up, as is tradition. I don't know if that's going to be fixed in the future. I do know that after speaking with one of the devs one day, it was brought up that there's a potential that maybe some of the resource gains will be increased on some of the maps like this. The reason for that is because it is harder to just search for chests and things. And it being harder to search for chests means a harder map. Well, what's the point of a harder map if you're not getting as many resources, or the resources that you want, namely the amber and things like that? So, if they increase the amber multiplier for the harder levels, or something along those lines, I think that would be a huge benefit. The developer that I spoke to did seem to think that as well, and said it would be a potential inclusion. Now, whether that's included in this patch, or another one, I don't know. I should get this chest, but I just want the experience so very badly. And our cleave is maxed. I did not call it out. Our cleave is maxed. Our Grand Hex is getting pretty good. Its AoE is a very sizable level. I want to get its cooldown a bit more. The crit rate is nice, but at this current rate, I'd prefer just to have the cooldown. Crit rate is fantastic. AoE size, we'll get to max, though. It's always fun seeing how... Look at that. It's a pretty good chunk of the map. Not quite a quarter or anything like that, but it's a pretty sizable chunk. This will be our 5th cooldown reduction. So this is actually the speed that Maxine does start it with, if you do choose it. Again, I think one of the weakest variations of the synergies, because it's literally just levels. And I think at this point I should be using my rerolls to get more cooldown. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is fun to start, essentially, with 5 levels. But, it's not a bonus that any other character can have. I mean, if I'm going to start with 5 extra levels, I could play Vivian and just get 5 extra levels from my increased drop rate and things like that on any other weapon. Let us stick with that as long as we got something for it. So, we're coming to the end, though. 24 seconds. I'm actually I'm a little nervous, because I have not, my vines have no increased damage. Even my Grand Hex doesn't do that much damage. It's mostly just, it's firing at a decent rate. I mean, it's 48 damage, but I mean, compare 48 damage to how many times we're striking with Cleave, and it's effectively nothing. Our dots are going to do very little. Where is this boss? It's off to the side. Let's just keep him in it, and this honestly is not even a problem. This boss does not have nearly the health to stand up to this. Again, I probably should have done a different boss now I think about it, in hindsight, because that was a joke. But you saw, that was about 3,000 health in that amount of time, in one shift of the cage, so I don't think any boss really would stand up to that amount of assault. Almost 400 damage. every second basically, yeah, that's gonna chew through the bosses pretty quickly. So, there really isn't too much to say on Cleave other than it's amazing. Use it. Enough said. So, that is it for this review. It's amazing. The best. Maxine has the best synergy in the game. That synergy right there is the best synergy in the game, period. It is just a monster of damage, increasing an overpowered weapon by 20%. I mean, you cannot go wrong. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you want to see anything else. I greatly appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, and I will catch you next time.